בשם השם נעשה מצליח, בעזרת השם, today's topic is Rosh Chodesh Adar. The topic is about Yad Shamayim, because the whole as Rabbi Baruch says, the whole concept of a person getting their spirituality is the main foundation of a person to get close to Rosh Baruch Hu. A person has to have Yad Shamayim. If he doesn't have a Yad Shamayim, he's going to have a problem, because they say, so they say the only way a person could have a love towards Hakadosh Baruch Hu, the real love that Hashem is expecting, is a person should have a fear of God. That's the first step a person should have in order to get closer to Hakadosh Baruch Hu and has about Israel, and then about Hashem, which means the step that the person has to go through in order to get closer to Hashem is one, he has to have Yad Shamayim, then he has to have Avodah Israel. That is very important. A person should love the fellow Jew. That's why Baruch Hu in the Torah has given us so much commandments about how to interact with the fellow Jew. There are a lot of mitzvot that we have, and then by loving Jewish people, right? Then we're going to get to what about Hashem. But first, we have to have Yirah, because the Yirah is the most fundamental part. There's a sefer called Rishat Chokhmah that talks about this in depth. That Sha'arei Yirah, has a Sha'arei Yirah, and then Sha'arei Ahava. And then Sha'arei Anava, there are different aspects over there, and this I highly recommend it. They say Moran Chida has said that whoever reads the sefer Rishat Chokhmah, eventually is going to have Ruach HaKodesh. Because that book is very, very extremely holy book, right? And it's written by the student of Moshe Cordovero. His name was Rabbi Eliyahu in Duik. I hope I'm not pronouncing it wrong. But that's the way a person is able to get close to Hakadosh Baruch Hu. But the first step is to have Yad Shamayim, because if a person doesn't have it, right, he's going to have problem. He might be doing a lot of things we're going to see here, and he thinks he's been doing everything right, and at the end of his lifetime, when he goes to Shamayim, they say to him that, listen, yes, you did mitzvot, you did all these things, but unfortunately you didn't do Yad Shamayim, and it's as if you didn't do much. Okay, we're going to look at the Gemara Shabbat talks about that the foundation of everything is Yad Shamayim. And here, I bring this sefer. I highly recommend this book. Anybody can buy it, This gives all the information about the tzaddikim and tzadkaniyot regarding how they were able to have a spirituality in their home. And one of the woman is the cornerstone of the home, which is the foundation. She is what we call in Hebrew Akeret Habayit. If she is not have a Yad Shamayim, right? The children will not have it. So the main thing is, that's why a person wants to get married, first thing looks at the woman. Even though Gemara says the person should look for the brothers to see if the brothers are the person sees how the brothers act, but the main thing is see if the woman has the Yad Shamayim. That's the main thing. If she has it, then you're gonna be all set. So here is a story about Chavetz Chaim. One of the stories I give it. You have it in your telephone. The image I send it. It talks about Kol Nidre. In the Kol Nidre night is a very important night, and that night everybody on the Yom Kippur person have to get ready to enter to Yom Kippur. So Chavetz Chaim here talks about in the last year of his life, before he started saying the Kol Nidre and started going to Arvid. They say he started for 1 hour. He started with the Ma'ot Shelish. He started crying. Right? I'm just reading what he says over here. He says, like a third paragraph on the first page. He says, "Kach Zofrenu shediber sha'a shlema bebechiyot noraot ad-devar echad v'yachid." So Chavetz Chaim for 1 whole hour with the Ma'ot Shelish, with the crying eyes. Right? He started talking about one thing. A woman, talking about a woman also, this also applies to men too. Some men think that the person when goes home, he can walk around with a short. It's asur. A person should wear long pants, long sleeve. All the time wherever he goes, he has to be very careful because we said Melo Ul Haras Kevodo. Hakadosh Baruch Hu Shekhinah is all over. It's not just one place. Wherever you want to, Hashem comes to you. If you make it available for Hakadosh Baruch Hu with the way that Hashem wants, which is Tsenua, Hashem is going to be there. So that's why it says Melo Ul Haras Kevodo. That's one of the things that is in Shulchan Aruch. The person that gets up, he has to be very careful that he gets up b'tsenua and shouldn't expose his body even in his home. So the same thing, so much so for a woman, right? That a person should do that. And then it says, those days in Russia, they were not careful about this. And he sits down and he says that according to Tanakh Ezra, right, it is very, very pertinent, important for a woman also be senua at home. Why? It says it here. Baze tinasem imalach hamovet hamale in naim shemisid adam lifkum et inav od mekomot hamechosim. So it says by concept of woman wearing senua, right? She's gonna be saved from the malach hamovet. They say in Gemara, says malach hamovet has full of a lot of eyes, and in those days, they used to say they could wear a skirt, and the Hashem changed the whole thing around. We don't see, but before, when we were about to pass away, you would see it and would get a skirt of it, and that would be it. But a person, he said he'd be safe from it, and there are two ways the person passes away. One is Chas v'Shalom Malach HaMovet comes in and gets the person, and there is another way is through Shekhinah. Shekhinah comes, the person when he passes away, like we have it with the Aaron. This is Mita Meshika. It's called Mita Meshika, which means a person passes away after 120 years. Shekhinah comes like a magnet, right? Rahavdil, and they're all the neshama. So that's how it is. So here is saying if a woman is being senua, right, it's being saved from Malach HaMovet. So the means Shekhinah is going to take after 120 years, right? It's going to be saved from being punished by Malach HaMovet, and he's going to be taking care of Shekhinah, which we have it in the Chumash. That's what how Hashem took away life of Moshe Rabbeinu, Aaron, and also we know from the other stories from Tzaddikim that Hashem done with the many Tzaddikim, Asad Kanyon, right? So now this next page, 140, if you look at it, this is the thing that got my attention, and that's why I started bringing this topic. On the top it says, Hu ta'an, Rabbi Harav Chofetz Chaim, he says, he claims, davar zeh, somebody, a woman is not senua, right? So we have to find out what senua is. We say a woman has to be senua, right? And if he doesn't, there are a lot of calamities come upon to the family or to her family or to the society. He says, what's the reason because of that? He says, if somebody is not senua, there was a mazdik lerochonio shel haisha asma. The first thing it does, it spiritually stains, put a stain on the spiritual of the woman herself, right? Then it would ruin the feeling of a woman that has to be senua and should be embarrassed walking around among the people, among the Jewish people. If doesn't have all this sensation a woman's religious person should have, she loses all of that. I would take away any kind of lachluchit means any kind of the thing that causes a person to have Yirat Shamayim, right? Any kind of essence that the person has, it gets it away from that person. So that and then has no Yirat Shamayim. And if the person has that Yirat Shamayim, he could do a lot of things, right? And unfortunately, he won't be able to move forward, because later on, Shekhinah is not with that person. Maybe he is successful in many things, right? But he's not going to have much, Hashem is not happy with that person. So, Senua, that's why, it says Chavetz Chaim for 1 hour, right? And the Cornelius, he spoke about this, and he says, this is the thing, before he passed away, he says, this is the main thing for women to be Senua. This is the one, if do this, and this is the main thing you got to cover it. And then when he realized that everybody is okay with that, then he starts to continue the tefillah of the Yom Kippur. So that's we see that so important for this. Now we're gonna go to Gemara, and just one part of it. I also made the image of this. I think Rabbi Mahto made the image. So if you look at the downstairs on the page, we have page Gemara Shabbat, right? The Makora for this whole thing is Gemara Shabbat, about the Shemaim, right? So he says, the pasuk is like a 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, second line from the long lines. It says,
what is the daf now?
Daf Lamed Aleph Amud Aleph means 31 and another one. Okay, so Gemara says, Yirat Hashem Hi Sarah. It's a continuation of the Harav Chavetz Chaim, right? He says, the fear of God, this is the treasure. The treasure is the fear of God. Amar Rabba. The Rabba says, B'shah shemachnisim adam ledun, when a person after 120 years, right? He goes to Shemaim, right? Everybody has a heavenly trial. Everybody has it, with no exception, right? They ask him certain questions. So this is what are the questions they ask. Omrim lo, they ask him, Nasata, Natata Bemunah, when you were doing business, because everybody has to do some business in order to survive, right? This is Hashem said, that with your sweat you have to eat bread. This is the Kelala that Hakadosh Baruch Hu gave to the Adam Rishon, and he said that all of us, we have to have some kind of effort in order to bring some livelihood, because Hashem wants it that way, right? So he says, when you did business, were you honest in your business? So he says, did you have a set time for learning Torah every day, even though you're in business or whatever? Did you put some time to learn Torah? Did you get married to have children? Because getting married is the person who should pray to Hakadosh Baruch Hu. That's the whole reason that the person, I don't know if you have a chance to read that, but in the Bereshit, right, they have like a bunch of commandments that talks about, right? And I think it's number 6 commandment in the Hektamah of the Zohar HaKodesh on the Bereshit. It says, Hakadosh Baruch Hu wants a person to have children. And if somebody doesn't want to fulfill that mitzvah, right, it's like Chas v'Shalom, he is mema'et hashekhinah. He's making the image of Hakadosh Baruch Hu lower in this world. So it's so important, a person to get married and get married somebody that can bring children, because also Periyos says that the person when he gets divorced or whatever should look for a woman that is a childbearing woman, so he has a wife, and that could bring children, because what? You never know, Periyos says, he says you never know what kind of children you're going to have, right? So maybe, and they say, the Gemara says, Bana Zaka Abba, I think that's the word, which means the child, the son, he gives marriage for the father, which means a person could be having from Rabbi Akiva, that this guy was going around in the Olamat of Tovohu with Bemidbar, and he asked him, what are you doing, what's going on with you? He said that I've done so many sins. He said, do you have a son? He said, you have one son, yeah. He said, do you know what it is all about? He said, I know he was born he was in the city, my wife was pregnant. Rabbi Akiva goes to him and finds him. He didn't do Brit Milah, he did Brit Milah on him. He tried to teach him Torah, he couldn't. He taught him, finally, he started fasting for him for 40 days. And once he fasted all those 40 days, the child started learning. He couldn't learn. He didn't have no cheshek, no interest. He started learning Torah. Once he learned Torah, right, he started learning, becoming very hard, become Talmid Chacham. And then the guy said, I was in the Gehenna, I was not even in Gehenna. There are different places before a person go to Gehenna, Chas Shalom. He said, they took me out, that's when he started learning and saying Kaddish. I came out and putting crowns on me. And so from there, I'm in the Gan Eden right now because of you. And he says, the reason is because of your learning. So the Gemara says, and from other places we know that the son could bring the father out of Gehenna. So it's very important a person have son. And if a person wants to get married again or whatever, has to find a woman that she has childbearing, right? So Hashem Barak. You never know which son is going to be the big Talmid Chacham. Which son is going to help you out down the road. When a person goes to Shamayim, you never know which son is going to help you out to go. Maybe he's stuck in somewhere, and the son is going to help you out. So that's very important that's why he says, did you have a pre-video? Which means did you try to fulfill the mitzvah of having children, right? Then Sipitor Yeshua. So he says, what's a Sipitor? Did you expect the Yeshua coming? So there are two kinds of Yeshua a person should think. One is making sure that we know for sure Mashiach is going to come. You have to expect Mashiach come, and also Yeshua for yourself. Every person has to have like some kind of Yeshua. A person should always say, Hashem is going to save me. Always have to say, wherever I am, Sipitor Yeshua, right? Pilpater b'chokhmah. Right? Did you do pilpul when you learn Torah? Where you're getting to the point that you're able to understand something from some other subject, right? Right? No. But I feel achi. This is the punchline. I feel achi. If so, even if you've done all these things, Yad Hashem, he osara in. If you don't have a Yad Hashem, you're fine. If you have Yad Shamayim, you did all these things, right? If you had Yad Shamayim, fantastic. That's what the Gemara says. The Rambam says it, right? He says you've done it, great, fantastic, you're set. So they asked the Malachim, the heavenly Torah, they said, you're set, you're done. If you didn't have Yad Shamayim, right? If not, you're not set. What does that mean? Mashal Adam, it says, Gemara says, Mashal Adam, like a person give an analogy, Shamal Lishtocho Harali Kuru Chitin. Tell his Sharia, like whoever it is, said, do me a favor. I have like a lot of wheats, right? There's a big volume, right? It's harvested, right? Bring it in the attic, in the second building. They used to have a lot of stuff upstairs. Bring it upstairs. And the guy goes down a lot of effort to collects all those weeds, bring them upstairs, right? And he says, he did it. Halach velolu. Right? And he says, he went and did all of the things that he said to him. Now he says, Irafton lo bahem kaf chumtin. Right? He said, did you put, what's a kaf chumtin? It's like some kind of the sand they had. Grosh said it's kind of sand. That this sand had salt on it. And it was like a preservative. Right? So it would preserve the weeds. He said, if you did it, fantastic. Amar lo. He said, no, I didn't put it. I did everything. I didn't put that sand on it. Amar le butab im lo hereta. He said, no, you did nothing. It's going to all get rotten. You went, you did all this effort, getting, carrying it, being some other people help you out to bring it to the second floor, whatever, the attic, whatever. You've done all these things, right? But what? You wasted your time. Because why? Because those chitin, those weeds, are going to be spoiled. They're going to be rotten. So this mashal is talking about the same thing about the Yad Shamayim. The person has Yad Shamayim, fantastic. If you don't have Yad Shamayim, right, it's going to be a problem. Okay. So this is Gemara. Now this I'm just going to go to here because this is a very fascinating subject. Now we have this sefer by Aaron Zakai Shalita. I just listened to saw him on the video. Recently he came and they call Harav Mahmakdim. He was a Rav before Harav Yitzhak Yosef Shalita, and he gave a shiur. And he's very good. He's written hundreds of books. And Harav Yitzhak Yosef Shalita, we commend him very high. And his mamash has such a Yad Shemayim. He is Malach Chokhmah, he's the Rosh Yeshiva, one of the Yeshiva in the Eretz Israel. And you see him, you see such a Kedusha on him, such a Yad Shemayim on him. And here he has a book, right, that he has, talks about Ma'alot Yad Shemayim, right? I think he's going to tell you a lot of things here, but I'm going to tell you some of the things that he mentioned. He says, Ma'alat Yad Shemayim Ma'alot Gevuha is a very high level. If you're talking about very high level, somebody has Yad Shemayim, right? ומעלה את האדם, את כל שאר מעלות המידות החשובות, the level of this Yad Shemayim the person can obtain is higher than any other ma'ala the person could achieve. If they חשיבותו נעתה ברוך הוא ברשות האדם ברשות עליה. So it's so important, right? Hashem gave this option to a person to achieve it or not, right? But it says, Shama Chachamim, Hakol b'dei Shomayim, everything HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He said, everything HaKadosh Baruch Hu has Shlita on the person. Shlita means HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes a person makes a person go through different passage. You do read mamash, you don't have much to do.
Divine providence.
Divine providence, he has it, and he makes sure, makes sure, like you do this, you do that, you give you different tests, right? And he basically has the shalita. Like all of a sudden, he puts in your mind, go to live in this city. He puts in your mind, marry this particular woman. Puts in your mind and make it happen because Hashem is doing all that. So he says, Hakol b'dei Shomayim, right? Even when the fact that we are here together is the HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he put it to put our mind to come here. He said, Hakol b'dei Shomayim, chus miyad Shemayim. But if you are the only thing that Hashem doesn't have shalita on it, right? He said, you make the decision on that. It's up to you. You want to have your Shemayim, you do it. If you don't, it's up to you. But that's how it is. When I tell you, say, Hashem, so the pasuk says, and this is a pasuk, very important pasuk that is in Torah. It says, "V'ata Yisrael, Ma Hashem Elokecha Yisrael, Ma Hashem Elokecha Shu'el Mimecha." What HaKadosh Baruch Hu, listen, Israel, God said, Ma Hashem is requesting from you, Ki im le'yira el Hashem Elokecha, that you should fear of God. That's what Hashem wants from us. Even though He is not making us to fear Him, but He wants us to fear Him. That's what He wants. The person should love somebody with Hashem, with his whole heart, right? And with his whole nefesh. Now, here it goes. I'm just going to say some of the things that I found it extremely. This whole thing is very important, but because of the time limit we have here, I try to basically.
No more limits.
No more limits?
No, let's change it.
Yeah? So can I say it longer?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right, so it says, Chavivahi. Look at this what it says. Chavivahi yet Shamayim Lifnei HaMakom. It is so beloved. The person should have it Shamayim Lifnei HaMakom. Shehi Shagulat Kineg Kol Mitzvot Torah. And like we have like Tayag Mitzvot, right? 613 Mitzvot. It says the one that is so important that the Yad Shamayim, right, a person has, is equal to all the other 613 mitzvot a person does, to 12 mitzvot a person do. Because Yad Shamayim is one of the mitzvot, right? The other 612 mitzvot that Hashem has given to us, this one is equal to all other 612. This is just that's what he's saying. שכל העוסק בתורה ומצוות לשם שמיים מביאים אותו לחיי העולם הבא. So some people don't have time to learn. They have to work, right? They have 1 hour, 2 hours. Some people they are more blessed 3 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours. Some people have the whole day, right? It's the blessing a person learn, right? But whatever time a person has, that hours that he spends, if he doesn't be the Shemaim, right? He brings him to Olam Haba, right? כמובן שאומר, יד השם על כל חיים, לאסור במוחשי מוות. If he brings him Mishlei, he says, Yad Hashem is a source of life. You want life? You're a person looking for life, right? Have Yad Hashemayim. What does Yad Hashemayim mean? Lasur Moshe Movet. So you should taking away from the all the traps from death, right? ואומר כאילו סוף דבר הכל ישמע אלוקים יראה במזלו שמו כי זה כל אדם. And the Kohelet, which is the same author of Shema Melech, he says, go for the end of everything. If you want to know what's the bottom line, as they say in Hebrew, Shura Tachtona. Whatever you're learning, so what am I supposed to do in my life? What's the bottom line? Tell me what is the main thing I have to do with serving Hashem? He says, Sof davar hakol nishma, ki Elohim yir'eh, el Elohim yir'eh v'et misra shemot. So he says what? We want to know the whole concept of you being in this world, right? Fear of God. Make sure you fear of God. This is the Shura Tachana, the bottom line of the whole concept of being Judaism and why Hashem brought you down here is want to have a fear of God. Ed Misrotam Shemor and keep his mitzvot, whatever he give you. Kizeh Kol Adam. What does Kizeh Kol Adam? Means this is the whole concept of Hashem created human beings. When they go in, they also could get to this. There are different levels, of course, but they could also have Yad Shemaim, right? But this is what we are talking about Kal Yisrael right now. But I'm just saying, even the Goy wants to become God free, he could go because this is doesn't say. This is what it says. This is the whole concept of creation. Because the concept of creation is what? To fear God and do His mitzvot. Right? For by us, we have Tag mitzvot, we go in, they have Shira mitzvot Noach. That's it. But we are Am Segula and Kuman. Shema ve'aseh mitzvot b'yad shemayim. So what does that mean? So what does this mean? Shemor ve'aseh. Keep and do the mitzvot b'yad shemayim. Have fear of God. Realize whatever you do, look at all of the consequences. Like a person wants to make a decision, right? That's why they say in Gemara talks about it. A man should, for the head of the family, he has to make all the important decisions, especially for the family. He has to make a decision, right? But it says, in the other hand, says Gemara, I think it's Gemara Yevamot. It says if a woman comes and you consult with your wife with a certain thing. It's about certain thing about Kashmir, like a painting of the house. Your wife wants it like the house color will be white. Very good. You go with the woman, right? Because she's living there. That's why Gemara says, consult with your wife, right? But and the other part with the Ruchniot, Hakadosh Baruch Hu has given some kind of, a man can make a very long-term decisions a woman cannot do, because that's how Hashem created the man. That's why a man is the leader of the family. That's why a man has to make the decision for the family. He says by doing so, right, he's gonna able to save the whole family, and the whole concept is, which we are trying to this is basically very connected with the Tzniut. This whole concept. That's why I brought it down. Man, that's what we read last week about Yom Kippur or the Asr of Shach. How come there are so many soldiers? The war broke out in Yom Kippur. Why it was so bad? He said because the women were not sinua. So he said women were not sinua, right? So this officer of the army officer, as this avrech, said, so if there was not sinua, right? So why should these soldiers get killed, right? Because men. So he says because the soldiers are men, and the men did not tell their wives not to keep the sinut. The achrai, they are responsible because the husband is responsible for the wife to be sinua, right? And because they were not, that's why in the Yom Kippur War, almost Bar Minan should never happen again. Over 900 people, soldiers passed away, and made the Shema go to Canada and Amigason. But the whole concept is what that a man should be about the word of a man is in charge because he could see a lot of things that a woman cannot see. And a woman, by the fact of being sinua at home, right, being the Shekhinah down to the family, and that's why this whole thing works very well. That's why Shekhinah at home, everything goes very well. Right. Now, I'm going to go, because Harav Matur needs to talk. There is, like, if you go to 69, page 69, I'm going to tell you a couple more points here, and then with Hashem, we're going to stop here. If you go page 69, Harav Aaron Zakai, he defines the Yad Shamayim, okay? He says, Mahi ha'ira shehi adam ro'eh et hamakom k'negdo tamid. B'chol shor b'chol regel. So he says, what is the definition of Yad Shamayim, right? A person should always, what is it? A person should always say, Hashem is with me. Hashem is watching me. He's with me every step where I am. Hashem is with me, and I have to be careful because Hashem is with me. I have to make a decision. If I want to make a decision, I have to make sure that I don't hurt somebody. I have to do no chat v'shom chil Hashem. If I'm doing mitzvah, or whatever, I'm doing business or whatever, I want to make sure that I do that according to halacha that Hashem has given me. That's why I have to make sure I cover all the angles before I make a decision. Why? Because Hashem is in front of me. That's what it says. בכל מידות הכנעה והעבדות, כעבד העומד לפני רבו. It's like a slave standing in front of his master, right? A person should have a hakna'ah. Hakna'ah means he has to be humble in front of Hakadosh Baruch Hu, right? It's like a slave in front of the master. וירא וחרב בפניו שמו ישקה בעבודתו, או שמו לא ידסה רבו אליו. So he should think that Hashem, he shouldn't make a mistake by doing this, trying to fulfill his commandment. Maybe Hashem, he has to be always have that in back of his mind. That worry has to be always there. That I should be very careful, not that I don't make a mistake. Shemo lo yidaseh rabo elav. Maybe Hashem is not happy with me. Maybe I'm doing something wrong that Hashem is not with me. ומתוך כך נותן אל ליבו להתרסות לפניו במעשה בכל ענייניו. So he runs in front of Hakadosh Baruch Hu to do his Avodah Hashem. He always runs. Or Hashem, he runs. The first thing he has to do Avodah Hashem. Whatever he has to do, the priority in his mind always has to be that the money, of course, Hashem come, but whatever else, but he has to always think, I'm running, I want to do Avodah Hashem. That's the first thing he has to think. The rest of it is going to come. But that's the priority should be in his life. If he has that in his mind, that priority is serving God, no matter what, right? No matter what Hashem is the priority, the rest is counts. Maybe he doesn't get, maybe financially this is okay. So it's Gamze Yavor. No, Shem HaMelech had a ring on his finger, and only it says Gamze Yavor. which means this episode of his life also is gonna pass. He's gonna go through it. So that's the thing he had. I remember reading that was the writing on his ring. Gamze Yavor, whatever it is, it's gonna pass. We're gonna go through it. The only thing is, have in mind that what Hashem is priority, making sure not don't do no Hashem, and also making sure doing his mitzvot. On mitzvot in the right way, and if you have like a some kind of question about if this mitzvah you're doing all the way, look at all the things, right? Because it says in Gemara says, Havash Baruch Hu is working in dalet amot of halachot, which means that you have to see what's the halacha, because Hashem wants us to do His will according to halacha. So what's the halacha? And we do it, and Hashem gets happy with us. Okay, and it says, "B'chol ma שהוא עושה, הוא עושה בחרדת הלב," and he should have some kind of חרדה, to be trembling. And then, that he shouldn't make a chapel mistake, right? כדי שהוא ינסה אחריו, משקיע דבר מכוער. The chapel shouldn't do something ugly or something one mistake. And I'm going to finish up this topic with something about Rabbi Akiva. Okay, it's page 65. Is it? Okay, I think it's here. This is about Rabbi Akiva. The first two paragraphs. It's very interesting. I read this. I know about this story, but I didn't know the end of it. He explains it here very nicely. He says, "V'ezehu chokhma shetikhlato hayta l'shem shamayim." So he said, so a person should have prior page about from Pirkei Avot, כל שהיית חטאו מקודמת בחוכמתו, חוכמתו מתקיימת. Pirkei Avot says, whoever that has his yirah before his chokhmah, with his wisdom that he's doing, his chokhmah is going to be staying with him. Okay? So here, this story is very fascinating. And you listen to this, you're going to love this. He says, talks about, איזהו חוכמה שהתחילה הייתה לשם שמיים. So, what's the example? What's the example of a chokhmah that you start and there's a Shem Shamayim, and from there you can build up your chokhmah. But you have to have your Shamayim first. It says, Kegon chokhmato shel Rabbi Akiva. So, chokhmah of Rabbi Akiva. So, what's the story there? Hamar Rabbi Akiva in Derech Eretz, Zuta Chet, in the Masechet Derech Eretz, Zuta, he says, Zo hayta techilat tashbishir lefnei chachamim. He says, this is how I started do shimush chachamim. Masati harug echad v'nitpalti bo keshushot techumei Shabbat. Asheviti lemakom kibura. I found a Jewish person that was killed in the midbar, and I carried him because there's a special halacha that there's called met mitzvah, right? In the midbar, when you have met mitzvah, let's say you find a corpse in the midbar, you're supposed to bury him right there. That's a halacha. You cannot move him around. You cannot take him to the cemetery. So Rabbi Akiva didn't know about this halacha. So what he did, he said, I'm going to take him to the cemetery. So he
before he was.
Yeah, before he became.
Okay.
That's it. That's what he said. How did he become such a? Tzaddik and Talmid Chacham? He says it's from here. He says he thought in his mind he's doing mitzvah. He's going to take his corpse and he's going to take it to the cemetery. So he carried the dead body, and he schlepped it all the way to the cemetery. And he was very proud of himself. He said, this is a big mitzvah, right? So that's what he said. He said, and he went to the Chachamim. So he carried him for a long distance, until he brought him to the cemetery. כששבעתי והסעתי הדמוני לפני חכמים, then I came, I told the חכמים, look, I did a big mitzvah here. אמרו לו, על כל פסיעה שפסעת, מעלים עליך כאילו אתה שופך דמים. So he said every step you carry this person is as if you kill somebody. Because you are supposed to bury him right there.
Right.
So here he said, we get, so what did Rabbi Akiva think about it? He said, Danti alai, al-asmi kal b'chomer, mili kal b'chomer, ma, ve'imma b'sha'a she'itkamanti l'sirkut. My whole concept was, I want to do what? I want to do mitzvah. We get some zechut for myself. By doing this, right? V'chatati l'rabot. I did so many avonot. So I did so many avonot by, I had a kavanah, I had a good kavanah. I had a good kavanah to do mitzvah, right? And then chatati l'rabot, I did many avonot because of this, the Chachamim say every pesiyah, every step he took, right? He made avera, right? Ma'ati, I made idu nidkamanti lema'et. So I had kama. So if you say if I would want to do, so he said if he says he's made kavachome for himself. He said if I want, I had kavanah to do mitzvot, and this was the end result, right? Not if I wanted to do chas shalom, avera, right? Ma'ati, you don't kamanti lema'et. I had kama. If I wanted to do avera, how much worse it would have been the thing. He made that event for himself as a big, having a lot of yirah for Hashem. He said, if I did it for zechut, I want to bring zechut for myself. It caused me to have done so much avera. Not if I would have wanted to do avera, how much worse it would have got. My situation would have gotten. So from there, he says, and what he says, so when he says, they said to Rabbi Akiva, Zo hayta techilat zechuti. He said, this is where I started.
Wow.
In Shamayim. Yeah, Shamayim started from this point. When zechut started realizing, even though I did, you know, when somebody gets this kind of situation, he gets very cold feet. He said, wow, maybe Hashem doesn't want my look at this, I become mikshol in such a avera, right? But he told it the other way around, he made it kavachon for himself. He said, I meant it good. It came turn out to be bad, so if I meant to do bad, how much worse it would be. So Baruch Hashem, I did it, at least I had a good kavanah.
Yeah.
So now I have to start having more fear. Whenever I want to do something, I have to look at the halakha before I make a decision. But my kavanah was good, and because he says that was started that process, mental process that he had for the Kavach. He says from there on, he became very, very zahir, very careful, right? That he wants to do mitzvah, he gets a zechut, but he wants to look into the halacha and the Torah, making sure that he is not making a mistake. We came on. Shehayta techilat toratush b'shashamayim lefichas zara v'alta b'yado. So he says, since from the beginning, from that point, he meant to do it for Hashem. He did Hashem Shemayim. So he said, and he did this kavachoma. He said, even though I made a mistake, it was avera, but I meant it for a good reason, right? So Hakadosh Baruch Hu gave him a ability to keep go up and up the ladder until he became Rabbi Akiva, that he was able to even make a drasha on the the crown on the otiyot, and maybe have a zechut. So what he is telling you, that a person, even if he have a very good kavanah, I mean, even if he makes a mistake, but his kavanah is good, right? This is from the study. This is what we're learning. Even if he had a good kavanah, but he wanted for L'Shem Shamayim, he thought he was doing a mitzvah. In the end result, he keeps going up and up in Shamayim, especially to Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Maybe have the zechut of Rabbi Akiva to be able to do the same thing.
Amen.